A trio of unlikely partners: Kim, Xi, and Trump. Washington. President Trump revels in his friendships with the leaders of China and North Korea, but can seem jealous when his two friends spend time with each other. He once griped so when the Chinese president announced this week. Mr. Trump reacted by rushing to an extended meeting in Osaka, Japan, a week later. Had a very good tell. It was only the latest move in what has become a kind of strongman's dance, involving a trio of unlikely partners whose motives for getting together are deeply divergent but whose interests occasionally harmonize. Their phone calls. Mr. Trump's call with Mr. Xi, initiated by Mr. Trump, according to China's state media, suggested he did not want to be left on the sidelines in a negotiation that he views as one of his marquee foreign policy projects. But it also if anything, Mr. Xi faces even greater pressure than Mr. Trump from the tariffs, not to mention the angry protesters who have. And for Mr. Kim, given all these cross-currents, it seemed inconceivable that the timing of Mr. Xi's visit to Pyongyang, the North Korean capital, was accidental. Administration of Mr. Xi himself stoked those expectations, publishing a rare article on Wednesday in the North Korean ruling party's official newspaper, Rodong Sinmun, in which he said China was willing to draw up a grand plan with the North Koreans that would realize permanent peace on the Korean peninsula. If Xi can't say something to Trump on trade, it would suggest that his visit to Pyongyang was for naught, said Jonathan D. Pollock, an expert on China and North Korea at the Brookings Institution. Xi, yet on both fronts, the Chinese president faces an uphill battle. Mr. Kim's talks with Mr. Trump in Hanoi, Vietnam, broke down after it was clear there was a chasm between the North Korean and American positions, one that China can hardly bridge. And while there are also signs that the trade war is causing economic damage in the United States, particularly among farmers and manufacturing workers, the president himself seems sanguine that tariffs are a political winner, allowing him to continue to drive a hard bargain with China. There is no question Mr. Xi's position has weakened since May 2018, when he in the Chinese city of Dalian, a month before for the first time in Singapore. At that time, Mr. Trump had yet to impose tariffs on hundreds of billions of dollars of Chinese exports. And he was counting. There was a different attitude by the North Korean folks after that meeting, he said. I can't say that now. Mr. Xi is dealing with a Chinese economy that is flagging, in part because Mr. Trump imposed the tariffs, and an unprecedented show of defiance in Hong Kong, where the Chinese government has been blindsided by enormous demonstrations against the local government's proposed extradition law. That, as much as any competitiveness with Mr. Trump, could explain Mr. Xi's decision to become the first Chinese leader to visit Pyongyang in 14 years. He's looking for ways to bolster his standing, said Kurt M. Campbell, who served as Assistant Secretary of State for East Asian Affairs under President Barack Obama. It does secure his. Mr. Xi, analysts said, will scarcely relish his visit to North Korea. He is staying barely. There's not a lot of love here, to say the least, Mr. Pollock said. In that sense, while Mr. Xi has been far less fulsome than Mr. Trump about his personal relationship with Mr. Kim, the United States and China are largely in sync on North Korea. Both want Mr. What is less clear is how much goodwill that will buy Mr. Xi with Mr. Trump on trade. Early in his Mr. Trump's relationship with Mr. Kim has waxed and waned as well. The North Korean, Mr. Trump's rally on Tuesday in Orlando may have offered a glimpse of his current feelings for his two friends. He said nothing about, "Well, see what happens," he added, "but we are going to have a good deal and a fair deal, or we're not going to have a deal at all, and that's okay, too." Jane Perlez contributed reporting from Beijing, and Peter Baker from Washington.
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.